that game, was it Betis they played that night?
I think it may have been, yeah.
Yeah, or Vigo. So I can't. Well, anyway, one of them. But he played a B team. So that prior to the Roma game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he wasn't that fussed from a coaching perspective about an unbeaten.
But now we're in a situation where they could go unbeaten. The first team ever to do it in La Liga. And we've had this discussion before. Go, it doesn't matter. Look what they did. Look,
They've
what
won the
happened
league.
in Italy.
They've won the league, and they went out the Champions League disastrously. That's. I want.
But you say that as almost if it balances each other out.
No, I didn't. I said they won the league. That's what I'll remember them for this year.
Right.
And crashing out of the Champions League disastrously, unsurprisingly.
The way in which it's happened, Alan, we talked about this last night, is kind of taken a little bit of the spice out of it, a little bit of the edge, a little bit almost the achievement away. Do you think if you offered Barcelona players the chance to trade these two trophies in for a Champions League trophy, would they take it?
I think what they would trade is to have an opportunity to have a do-over in that Roma game. You can lose Champions League. You can get eliminated in Champions League. You can lose in the final Champions League, if so be it for Barcelona. But it's the manner in which it happened. When you look at what Barcelona was in August, and I think you have to have that as part of this conversation, because when you evaluate what they have done this year, you have to say, where were they in August? And where they were was in the conversation that we've had, quote-unquote, end of an era. And it was almost as if they were at the laughing stock. Because, well, this is all done. It's all gone. So clearly it was not all done. Clearly it was not all gone. And what Valverde has done has been impressive. And what Messi has done has been impressive. And what this team has achieved has been impressive. Finding a different way of themselves and a different personality of themselves to be what they have been in La Liga. But this season will always be evaluated with that caveat of what happened in Champions League. I still think it's a great season for Barcelona. But what the standards set by themselves, not by us, by themselves, because of what they have been in the past, losing out like that in Champions League is always going to have that little bit of what might have been, what could have been, and really what should have been.
But history will forget that, won't they?
I think history should. Like, in talking to Steve Nicol, a player who's won both these trophies.
Stevie's getting a lot of mentions today.
Yeah, well...
We miss him.
We love Steve Nicol. But he would also point out that the league is the better of the trophies to win, in his mind. So you look at this, I think there's also a temptation that you remember the most recent game or the most recent failure more. So at the end of the season, right, whether Real Madrid wins this Champions League or not, we'll talk about Real Madrid's Champions League campaign because it's the most recent. We won't discuss how they failed, by and large, during their own league run, because that kind of dragged itself out and was over a period of time. But similarly, as good as Barcelona have been in the league, their most recent failure, so to speak, was in the Champions League. And that has taken the focus. And again, I don't think that's right.
It's not exactly been a vintage La Liga season, hasn't it?
No, it hasn't.
You know,
But that doesn't really matter, does it?
Well, it does.
When you look back,
matter.
and when you look
It
back,
does.
when you look back and you look at the
matter.
Invincibles, you don't say
does
it
matter.
wasn't a vintage Premier League season. Is it? That's not part of the
about the Premier
conversation.
League. We could talk about that separately.
No, what we're talking about is the achievement of going through a whole season without losing a match.
And that's what I'm trying to explain to you. Atleti haven't had the greatest of season. It was a bit slow at the start. Sevilla have fallen off the pace. Yes, Valencia picked up. Real Madrid were horrendous up until Christmas. And Barcelona were far from scintillating in terms of the standards that they've set. Ali mentioned that. But they got results. They did it a different way. So it's hardly been vintage. It's not as if Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid have been pushing them all the way and they've been absolutely out of this world and they've went unbeaten. They're going to win the league. They're going to win it.
At the same time, though, nobody will mention that next year this time around. Nobody will talk about, let's say, it's not been a vintage Champions League season.
But nobody will mention they've gone unbeaten.
Of course they will.
No, they won't.
Of course they will.
If you mention me next week, I'll jump next year. I'll be straight down your throat.
But look the
It'll be on that graphic. Next time we do a graphic,
do you know how many times I talk about the Invincibles?
Many times.
Nothing.
Many
None.
times.
Zero.
Of course.
Because people all they want to do is hark back.
So we can't talk about history at all. That's it. It's done.
Well,
so if Real Madrid win the Champions League, who would have had a more successful season?
Stupid question.
Why?
Just, it's apples and oranges.
It's not apples and oranges.
It's apples and oranges. Are you telling me winning the Champions League's bad? It's the elite competition in Europe.
So Real Madrid will have a more successful season then, in your
A more
opinion?
successful cup competition. It's just a stupid question. It's not one that you can add up.
That's never stopped us before. This isn't your first time on this show.
I'm a bit new to this.
I can't believe you're sitting on the fence on this.
Why?
Because it's quite a simple question. Who would you prefer to be at the end of the season? Real Madrid with the Champions League or Barcelona with the double?
I'd prefer to be Real Madrid.
There we go. We got an answer in the end. Real Madrid, of course.
I didn't say it was. I just said that's what I'd prefer.
No, that's cool.
Right.
That's how you define success. That's fine.
And by the way, that's also what hurts Barcelona. If Real Madrid
Yeah.
had been eliminated from Champions League, if they weren't in the favorite to win it now, then the conversation of Barcelona would be different. But the fact that Real Madrid is still there and about to lift the trophy for the third year in a row, shift the focus on Barcelona and said, see, this is what these guys are doing. How come you're not doing it?
Don't even try and go to a break now, right? Don't sit there and play the Barcelona card. Oh, this is great. They were hopeless. It was the end of an era, as Ali mentioned. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this is... I'll tell you what, let's just sit back here. Let's sit back and go, oh, Barcelona, how great.
When the glasses come out.
It's found the extra gear back there. I was struggling for a moment.
How the worm turned.
Let's talk a bit of relegation, shall we? Because it took a bit of a twist at the weekend. Everyone kind of thought those three at the bottom were down. I think it's safe to say West Brom will certainly be plying their trade in the Championship next season. But a win for Southampton against Bournemouth, coupled with Swansea's defeat against Chelsea. Huddersfield, of course, lost as well. West Ham, with that defeat, has dragged them very much in it. Remember, just 3 matches to play. You take a look at it, I think the big game, without question, the penultimate round of matches sees Southampton travel to Wales to take on Swansea. That could be the big decider, couldn't it, Shaq?
Yeah, it could. And if Southampton don't get anything there, if they don't win it, I think ultimately they go down. As much as we've seen a little bit of an uptick over recent weeks from Southampton, I just feel they find a way to shoot themselves in the foot.
There are other matches at Everton and Manchester City.
Yeah, so after that win against Bournemouth, they might only need 1 win, 3 points.
Yep.
3 points will take them level with Huddersfield and above Swansea. And their goal difference is, I don't know, I can't remember, it was about 10.
It's not too bad.
10 between them and
It's about 10 better off than Huddersfield,
yeah.
who have got to play Man City away, Chelsea away, and Arsenal at home. So I don't think they're picking any points up. So their goal difference is going to be even worse. So I think 1 win could do it for Saints. Potentially Swansea getting out of it as well. I think Huddersfield are going to drop down into the bottom 3 with Stoke. When you look at that finish, they had to win against Everton at the weekend at home. They lost 2-0. I think they're toast now.
That's the problem, isn't it? You look at Everton, all the problems they're having at the moment, and if you can't beat them at home, as Craig said, with that run of fixtures you've still got, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, without question. But Southampton have caused their own trouble all season long, and every time you
Your
feel...
anti-Southampton rhetoric,
Jesus,
Shaq.
what have you got against Southampton?
I'm just saying, I expected so much...
Pompey. There it is.
Ex-Pompey player.
Go.
Can't hide it.
Wow.
No. I remain impartial.
Always comes out.
I
in the wash.
remain totally impartial and neutral.
So Huddersfield have got those 3 horrendous games, and you're still chuntering on about Southampton.
Because Southampton will shoot themselves in the foot. They've barely been able to buy a win before this week.
They won at the weekend.
Right before this week. They haven't been able to buy a win before this week.
You just said they had an uptick.
No, yes.
I tell you, the relegation for
And
most
still they're
people
there.
is not very exciting, right? But it's kind of
this
where
guy.
it's kind of where we are at the moment, because obviously the league's done, the top 4 looks. But actually, you know, for the supporters and for the players down there involved, I mean, it's.
Have you been relegated? Were you relegated with Derby?
Yeah, Derby at the end. It's horrible. Horrible. We stayed up for about 2.5 years. We had no right to stay up, the squad we had, but we did with Jim Smith. But it is more tense at that end than trying to win the league down the bottom. It is.
Really?
Well,
You have no confidence. You're playing with no confidence, and you're not quite sure where a win is going to come, regardless of who the opposition is.
How do you have confidence when all those teams that we're talking about, all of them, they're terrible.
Yeah.
They're absolutely incredibly terrible. And so, yeah, there is no confidence to pull from.
You need to get on the phone. Give them some motivation.
Hey, guys,
now.
you are terrible.
And we used to do that as well, by the way. We used to get the fixtures when you're struggling, you know, you lost like
Yeah.
3 or 4 in the bounce, maybe more, and you look at the fixtures coming up, and it's a bit like Huddersfield.
And Southampton. Did I
Man
mention
City.
Southampton?
Man City,
I'm not
Chelsea,
sure if I
Arsenal.
mentioned Southampton in the last 12 seconds.
You're anti-Saints.
Why you hate
It's
them, though?
Pompey. Pompey, big rivalry. It's not good. Welcome into extra time. After this, we're going to go and do rehearsals in our new studio.
Oh,
Exciting. Exciting.
We don't get to go home?
No, we
Oh,
get
great.
to jibber jabber, which was someone's complaint on Twitter. That was a great expression. But a jibber. What is all the jibber jabbering going on between this lot? Okay, no time for gibber jabbering.
What? No time for what?
Jabber.
Who has
He hasn't got time either. I read the tweet. It didn't come, but I read the tweet.
Yeah.
What was he said? He hasn't got.
He hasn't got time.
Hasn't got a minute and a half in the day.
So listen to our jibber. Wasn't there a toy which was called a jibber jabber?
Why are you
You used to shake it and go jibber jabber, jibber jabber, jibber jabber. Like that.
I think that's just you, Dan.
Maybe it's Cornish thing. What? Who was the greatest
You look like, see, when you were doing that, you look like our producer, Pete Van Leer.
Yeah. When he goes for a jog.
Yeah, just did shaking about like that. Self-combobulating, as he does.
Who has the greatest chance of pulling off an upset in the second leg? Three choices. Arsenal, Bayern or Roma?
Better chance.
The greatest chance.
The greatest chance.
Oh.
Wow. No jibber jabbering now.
Jabbering here.
Let's spend a minute and a half doing this.
Well, I have to
They'll be
say,
asking for jibber jabber now.
looking at Atletico Madrid's defensive record at home, I don't think it's Arsenal. I would say, I don't think they'll do it, but out of the 3, I would say Bayern.
Bayern. Shaq?
Yeah, Bayern. That's a hard choice.
I think the smallest mountain climb is Arsenal.
Arsenal?
They sneak a goal maybe, one
Yeah.
nothing.
Then they lock things up at the back.
Yes, you know, solid as
I
they
wouldn't
are.
imagine Bayern was a tough choice for you, bearing in mind you picked them to win the Champions League.
Wow.
Yeah.
You seem very hesitant about that.
Didn't quite work out, or has not so far.
Are you giving up on them already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do that very quickly. Shaq.
He's thrown it down.
But Shaka, will Alaba's return alongside Ribery on the left side give Bayern a huge advantage, especially that Carvajal is out injured?
Ah, change my mind.
There you go.
Bayern are going through. No.
No?
Bayern's problems, and Ali touched on it in his show, they concede a goal and all of a sudden just down tools. And I expected more from a team with that experience.
Get to the real content. That's what the tweet said, wasn't it? Get on with it, Thomas.
No real content.
Get to the real content of extra time.
Why is it that Shaka, Craig and Ali play no part in deciding Team of the Week?
Because we make Nickel and Mariner do it.
I do sometimes. I do some weekends.
Oh, do you?
Do you?
The epitome
How
of mailing
involved are
it
you?
in.
How involved are you, though?
I'm very focused.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, how involved are you?
Can you give them 4 names once?
Well, you know,
Huh?
there were 7 red cards in the game.
Nobody played well.
To be honest, I've offered.
Yeah, okay.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I offered, but I don't, as you know, I don't work on Sundays.
Yeah.
So it's not feasibly possible. I'd have to call it in, and that's cheating because there's other boys here.
Yeah. There's a lot of other things going on.
To be honest, if I were Stevie and Paul, I wouldn't even get involved because in the end, the one that really has to say so is Gamma.
Yeah, just leave
Paul doesn't work every Sunday, and he does it.
But he works some Sundays.
Yeah, but
I don't work. You may have noticed this.
a small
I don't work-
minority.
I don't work.
Paul
any
only
Sundays.
works a
How many
small
Sun-
proportion.
How many Sundays I've worked?
I think you
tell
can bridge
what,
that gap. I'm just
I
saying.
tell you
I'm
what,
putting your name forward.
I think I've worked one Sunday since I've been here in the old studio, and I got voted off by all you lot.
Yes.
So they don't want me to come back.
Yeah, well,
That's about right.
that's fair.
So your plan worked.
Correct.
You were incredibly miserable that night.
I may have had a little moan up at the highlights.
More miserable than usual. It is possible.
Yes.
We know Gab goes over it in great detail because he's a bit of an anorak and he hasn't really got much of a life outside of watching all this. But the good news is for the people is that we've got the real brains and the outfit on it with Mariner and Nickel.
Yeah.
I mean, when those two put their minds together,
Anything is possible.
anything is possible.
Finally, how old is Dan Thomas? He doesn't seem to age since I knew him. He's always looking young like Superman.
Oh. I like that. I like that a lot. So how old are you?
They should have seen you getting an eyebrow what's an eyebrow haircut?
I have to get my eyebrow.
Get his eyebrows
eyebrow trim,
trimmed.
yeah. From my fighting days, I've got a bit of a scar there.
You've got to sort that haircut out as well. There was, tell me something, did Superman have to ask to play golf?
Did Lois Lane allow Superman to play golf?
Man.
I've got.
And what was the quote last week of the week?
No Clark.
I think I won't be able to play golf until August.
No Clark.
That's it.
No golf for you. That's Lewis Lane. No Clark.
But I'm Superman.
Damn you, Burley, my kryptonite! Just to
Gotta save the world.
You can see more of this nonsense.
that what you're doing?
Save the world.
ESPN.
But don't you play any golf.
Can I play golf, please?
Oh dear. Right, join us, ESPN Plus.
Harry, that could be a big 3 points. How tough did Watford make it, though, and how tough did you make it on yourselves at times?
Yeah, it's a good win. It's what we needed, of course, but we could have played better, especially first half. Could have moved it quicker. They had a couple of chances on another day. Probably could have scored, and yeah, we was lucky to be 1-0 up, really. But second half we played a bit better, but yeah, it's an okay performance, but we got the win, which is the most important thing.
How much do you owe Hugo for going into half-time ahead?
Yeah, no, definitely. Great saves. The whole game, he was very, very good. So we need everyone. We need everyone to step up and play well. And yeah, when we're not playing at our best, we still need to find a way to win, and that's what we've done today.
A 27th Premier League goal for you, 38th in all competitions, I think. Could have had a couple, though, couldn't you?
Yeah, no, definitely. The one off the post, especially, come at me quick, and yeah, just managed to get through my legs. But no, like I say, happy to score again, and just look forward to the next game.
Lots of talk about the Golden Boot, but what would a 40-goal season, 30 goals in the Premier League mean to you?
Yeah, obviously I want to try and improve on every season. Last year was 29, so yeah, to hit that 30 mark would be great. So.
Shoulders, I bet you guys are looking ahead to Liverpool, though, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. We want to finish as high as possible, and obviously, if we win the rest of our games, we finish third. So that's what we've got to try and do. And yeah, we can't look behind us too much. It was important we won today. Eases the pressure a bit, but we've still got to finish strong.
Result everything at this stage of the season. So does that go down as a good night for Spurs?
I think good night for us, because the objective was to take the 3 points. 3 points that allowed to us to be in a very good position on the table. And I think today was the most important. It was a must-win game, so important for us. Maybe we not play in the way that we wanted to play. Our performance wasn't great, but the most important was the 3 points tonight.
Why didn't you play in the way you wanted to play?
No, because during the whole season, in 10 months of competition, it's difficult to keep playing good football. We tried. I think Watford was a very difficult opponent, and I think they played well. They created some chances, great chances. I think Will Lloris was fantastic. No, a lot of situation, but yes, a few situations that will show why he's one of the best keepers on the world. No doubt about that, but I think I'm happy because the 3 points put us in a very good position.
Do you think there was an element, certainly in the early part of the game, of just needing to recover from that cup semi-final mentally?
Yes, it was Monday night, difficult to play. Of course, the team came from a difficult week, of course, very disappointed after Manchester, and of course it was a difficult game. Watford, and then was free to play, no pressure because I think they are safe, and of course they try to play freedom, and for us was massive pressure to take the 3 points.
Where do you think Harry Kane is with his game at the moment, and how, what will that goal do for him?
I think 150 games, Premier League games, 105 goals. What I can say more than that, I think the numbers talk for him.
And do these 3 points give you or leave you in a really strong position for top 4? And as you said before the match, a fantastic season.
Yes, 3 games ahead. I think put us in a very good situation. I think we are capable to win the next games, and to finish on the top 4 will be massive for the club for third time in a row.